September 8th, 2022, the day the Queen of England fucking died. Queen Elizabeth's death sent shockwaves throughout the entire world in late 2022, provoking a mass grieving from the people of England, as well as weird Harry Potter girls. An article from Today.com, which I'll be referencing throughout this video, states that the Queen of England died of old age at approximately 3:10 p.m. GMT, which, to the average person, I mean, that would add up, right? I mean, the bitch was like 2,000 years old, had to happen eventually. She could only live off of newborn baby blood for so long. But don't you think the details of this generational death have been a bit sparse? The general public knows next to nothing about the Queen's death prior to the events of it happening. Obviously, this sort of thing is ripe for conspiracy theories. I mean, I'm sure the nutcases from the streets of Los Angeles have come up with plenty of mental gymnastics to explain how she was poisoned, assassinated, lives in an underground bunker, maybe even that she wasn't even real in the first place. But I happen to prefer a different theory. You see, on September 6th, 2022, 2 days prior to the Queen's passing, there was a tournament held on Twitter.com by user @SexymanOTD that sought to rank various ugly hot media characters by using the Twitter polls. This is the story of the Tumblr man Sexy.
What?
The Tumblr man? This is the story of the Tumblr Sexy Man Showdown. I think for the less informed, I should briefly clarify what a Tumblr Sexy Man even is. I mean, some of you aren't terminally online like I am. Basically, all you need to know is think of a guy that by all accounts should not be considered attractive. You know, maybe they're egregiously skinny, maybe they have greasy hair, maybe they got buck teeth, maybe they're a triangle, you know, it could be anything, right? But there's just something about that character that in the minds of 2013 to 2020 Tumblr users makes them hot as fuck, right? According to GamingMag.com, this Tumblr Sexy Man tournament was a semi-annual thing on SexymanOTD's account, kicking off the tournament with, and I quote, "Time for another semi-annual Sexy Man showdown." It was on. And I mean, looking at the original roster, this shit was fucking stacked. You had Reigen Arataka, Sans from Undertale, the Onceler, the Warden from Super Jail, Loki, Megamind, and my personal favorite, Nagato Kamado.
Wow, Nagato Kamado.
I hate some of these characters, and I hope they get obliterated. Winner will be taken to Baskin Robbins and given a small cone. My treat. How generous. SexymanOTD also commented that they'd personally be rooting for Reigen Arataka to be winning the tournament. Keep this in mind for later. Before doing my research for this video, I was shocked at how big this actually got. I mean, I was on Twitter when it happened, and to me, it was just kind of like a small blip, but no, this shit gained some serious fucking traction. Trending until I want to say about September 10th. This shit had so many memes, fan art, articles, everything written about it. And for certain cases of that, I'm gonna leave some of the bigger examples of all those until the end of the video, just to have a more streamlined story. I'm going off script a bit, obviously, but just to have a more streamlined story. One I will bring up now, though, because it is important, is the YouTuber Rubber Ross and several other animators actually making an entire video based on animating the results of the tournament as they happened. And believe it or not, this video actually helped me a lot in cataloging what exactly went down, especially with the percentage numbers, because it's kind of hard to calculate. You see, SexymanOTD deleted their account soon after the polls were finally said and done. Don't you think that's a bit suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
But it gets weirder. In order to tell you about it, though, we need to get to the top 32. This is the layout of the tournament recreated to the best of my abilities. The full contestants is as followed. I'm going to try to do this in one take, so hopefully I don't fuck this up. Lewis Pepper, Professor Venomous, Guzma, Bill Cipher, Warden, Almond Cookie, The Onceler, Megamind, Sans, Junkrat, Tony the Talking Clock, Black Hat, King Dice, Raymond, Wheatley, Doc Ock, Nagato Kamado, The Goat, Dr. Habit, Cecil, Slenderman, Jack Skellington, Turbo, Ingo, Bruno Madrigal, Purple Guy, Spamton, Alistar, Loki, Reigen, Beetlejuice, Herobrine, and finally Benry. Now, just looking at some of these matchups, I can't help but feel like some of these are a little unfair. Like, what the fuck are you doing putting Nagato Kamado, The Goat, against Dr. Habit? I mean, that's actual fucking coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb type shit. But I digress. Now, unfortunately, the wiki page I was referencing to for this video doesn't actually have the poll data shown until we get to the top 16. So, as previously established, for the top 32, I'm going to rely on the percentage data of the Rubber Ross video, which will be in the description, as well as any other sources I may have used for the making of this video. Alright, cool. We love giving credit, don't we, folks? As if Rubber Ross leads the fucking promotion from my dumbass.
It is still important to give proper credit.
They say history is written by the victors, so let's get to them. Professor Venomous beats Lewis Pepper, Bill Cipher beats Guzma, Almond Cookie beats Warden, Megamind rightfully beats Onceler. You take that fucking dub, King. Sans beats Junkrat, Black Hat defeats Tony the Talking Clock, King Dice surprisingly beats Raymond, Wheatley beats Doc Ock, Komeda obliterates Dr. Habit, as he fucking should, because he's a fucking goat. Slenderman beats Cecil, Jack wins against Turbo, Ingo beats Bruno, and in a clash of titans, Spamton clutches the W against Purple Guy. Loki beats Alistar, Reigen beats Beetlejuice, and finally Herobrine beats Benry. Okay, so we're in the top 16 now. You guys still with me? Alright, cool. So now that we've entered the top 16, I want to take a brief intermission and talk about how the general public was starting to handle the tournament at large. This part of the story will partially be written from my personal accounts, as I can't quite find a source on some of this. It was around this time that hashtag Reigen Sweep began trending. For those that are unaware, Reigen Arataka had actually been included as a contestant in multiple similar polls that happened around the same time. And in every single one, he fucking crushed it. According to Motive Loki on Twitter, these were some of the tournaments that Reigen had won prior to the Sexyman tournament. Reigen won Twink Supreme, Ultimate Dilf, True Baby Girl, Hottest Anime Woman, Ugliest Protagonist, and some minor ones that I'm not gonna get into. The point is, for a short period of time, Reigen was the Michael Jordan of anime Twitter polls, the Muhammad Ali, nothing but W's. To the outside looking in, it looked as though Reigen was gonna scrape this poll like it was gum off of his fucking shoe. Of all the archetypes that had been associated with Reigen, none suited him better than the coveted title of Tumblr Sexy Man.
Master Reigen, I got a date this Friday.
Oh, that's great, buddy. Who's the lucky lady?
Well, her name's Tsubomi. She's around my age, she really likes gardening, she plays the piano, she's really into Hello Kitty, too. Oh, I'm gonna take her to the movies.
Did he just say what I think he said? Hello Kitty. Well, you can't judge a book by its cover, I suppose. Plus, he does seem really happy. I think I'll just let this one slide. Well, hey, just let me know how it goes, alright, champ?
One date with a Hello Kitty girl later.
Hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
What did she do to you?
In the arms of the angel.
Taking a brief intermission to talk about the Queen again, according to Today.com, Queen Elizabeth was hospitalized in late October 2021, serving as the catalyst for numerous health problems. The heater just turned on, apologies for the noise. She was restricted to light desk work until her death in September the next year. The day before her passing, she had to cancel a meeting with her Privy Council, choosing to follow the advice given to her by her doctors. Alright, now here's where the conspiracy hats start to come on.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, I'm not wearing that for the whole video. Yes, the Queen was old as sin. She was probably gonna die anyways, but if you look at the timeline of events, shit just adds up too nicely, okay? September 6th, the polling for the Sexy Man tournament begins. September 7th, the Queen cancels an important meeting. Considering that the Queen's mobility was extremely limited in the time prior to her death, is it such a far-fetched thing to imagine that Queen Elizabeth got addicted to Twitter? It happens to the best of us, even me!
I gotta testify.
Was the Queen a secret Reigen fangirl? It gets crazier. But before we get to that, we need to get to the results of the top 16. And so now I actually have polling data. Bill Cipher beats Professor Venomous by getting nearly double the votes. Megamind beats Almond Cookie by about the same metric. And in a turn of events that should be a surprise to no one, Sans utterly fucking destroys Black Hat. I believe it was around this time that hashtag Sans Sweep was starting to trend alongside hashtag Reigen Sweep, prompting a small rivalry between the two fandoms. Of course, this didn't mean anything at the time, but keep this in mind for later. King Dice barely manages to beat Wheatley with just over 200 votes. Nagato Kamato beats Slenderman as he fucking should. Take that W, King.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Ingo surprisingly manages to pull a dub against Jack Skellington. Dare I say, one of the pillars of Tumblr, Sexyman. Very impressive, Ingo fans. Take that fucking W. Spamton also coming in with a surprising win against Loki with just over 1,200 more votes. Finally, Reigen unsurprisingly beats Herobrine with just over 1,900 votes, and just like that, we're in the top 8. Man, time sure does fly. How are you guys doing? Let me know how you're doing in the comments. What? Engagement baiting? Me? No. Leave a like. What?
Spare engagement. Spare engagement, ma'am.
With the top 16 completed, this was when the tournament started to make some fucking rounds, okay? All of Twitter was talking about it. People were making fan arts, fan fiction, memes, the whole thing, caboodle. If you ran an art account on Twitter in late 2022, this was an engagement fucking machine, baby. By all accounts, it seemed as though Reigen was gonna take this W. The amount of support for him was sheerly overwhelming. I mean, he was Twitter's baby girl. But, as previously mentioned, there was one Tumblr sexy man that threatened Reigen's golden throne. That being Sans Undertale. The skeleton.
Wow, Sans, you're doing really well in this Sexy Man tournament. Sans? Oh my goodness! Sans, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay, bro. Guess you could say I'm a little bit of a tumbler.
That was a really funny joke, Sans. I'm glad you're my brother.
As previously mentioned, Sans and Reigen became a harsh rivalry that would persist all throughout the tournament. Hang on, I don't know why I thought that take was okay. Let me fix it. Began a harsh rivalry. People would draw art of them fighting, draw art of them winning, draw art of them furiously making out. My point is, there was a lot that was going on. Hey, sorry for all the cut-ins, but I just wanted to say that I've been using a lot of fan art in this video, and normally I don't try and do that because it's like, you know, I don't like reposting without asking the artist, but this is like historical coverage. I've done my best to try and link the artist page in the description, so please, if you can, just like, if you enjoy their art style, go check them out. All right, bye. This carried over into the top 8. It's getting real. Bill Cipher narrowly defeats Megamind with just over 300 votes. Sans destroys King Dice. Again, another coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb. But then, the unthinkable.
Yeah, stop being gay.
Shut the fuck up. Sorry, let me compose myself. Okay. Ingo fans pull together and narrowly defeat the GOAT, Nagato Kameda. I'll never forget you as long as I live, Bryce Peppenbrook. Okay, and finally, Reigen beats Spamton with just over 4,000 votes. As previously stated, shit is getting real. More people are voting in the polls than ever before. It's officially become one of the biggest days in internet history. On September 7th, 2022, we reached the semifinals. Queen Elizabeth scrolls aimlessly on her phone from her deathbed. A light shimmers in from the window, making a small glare on her screen. Multiple posters of Reigen Arataka cloud her room. The one closest to her begins to peel. If her favorite baby girl Reigen doesn't win this tournament, she may not have the energy to go on any longer. She watches in horror as Sans the fucking skeleton beats Bill Cipher with just over 6,000 votes. Holy shit, you fucking Sans. You Sans fans are something else. If you didn't think Sans was a legitimate threat to Reigen prior to this point, you should have by now. But it may surprise you that Reigen himself nearly lost his position in the finals to none other than Ingo. For such a niche character like Ingo, it's rather surprising that he made it as far as he did, but realistically going in, you know that he just had no chance against Reigen, but he got very, very far. He got very, very far. I'll give him that. Good job. Okay. With just over 4,000 votes, Reigen manages to scrape by, humbled, but still in the race, beating Ingo. A tear wipes down Queen Elizabeth's face. One more day. She can hold out for one more day. September 8th, 2022. The finals. A combined total of 244,609 people voted in this poll. The world watched with bated breath as the final votes were tallied. Would the underdog Sans clutch the W? Or would Reigen take home yet another trophy? I'm sure if you clicked on this video, knowing of the events as they transpired, you will know what happened. But it may surprise you to know just how close it actually was. Among those 240,000 people who voted, the difference was decided by just 300 people. If 300 people decided to just go outside, touch grass, then Reigen would have been crowned the Tumblr Sexyman King. But that didn't happen. With 122,649 votes, Sans the fucking skeleton wins the Tumblr Sexyman showdown. This revelation sent shockwaves around the world. Sans was victorious. Memes were made, laughs were had, rejoice spread among the Sans stans. But there was one woman who was not laughing, who had instead lost her baby girl. And with that, the queen died of a broken heart, leading to everyone on Twitter coming to the conclusion that she died because Sans won the Sexyman tournament, which I vehemently believe, by the way. Obviously, the reason that Sexyman OTD deleted their account was because the British royal family wanted to cover everything up. I mean, if the general public found out that this was why the queen died, there would be scandal upon scandal upon scandal. Reigen would never be allowed in Britain again.
The thing goes grrrr.
But believe it or not, this story gets even weirder, okay? After all of this was said and done, the dust was settled, as some may have said. Numerous articles had begun being produced about the event, and the story continued to trend. A spectator who'd been watching from the shadows gets up from his gamer chair, emerging like a king from his throne. Toby fucking Fox, the creator of Sans. Yeah, the creator of Sans himself decided to weigh in on what happened, not with confusion or a begrudging thanks, but by writing a small short story. This is real. A small short story of fan fiction about Reigen getting beaten by Sans, which I will read aloud now.
So, I got sick while I was editing, so this might not sound the best, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Okay. Having cheated his way to the last round of the competition, Reigen finds himself face to face with Sans, who got there by doing literally nothing. Although Reigen has an early lead, he decides if he wants to cinch this, he's going to have to collude with his competition. He's surprised when Sans, who was entered in the contest unwillingly by his brother, he didn't know what the competition was for, is glad to help him win free of charge. They both run a series of debates where Reigen dismantles Sans by proving how utterly unattractive he is. As the debates continue, Reigen puts on boy band style makeup and works out to become extra attractive. However, mysteriously, Sans' vote only seems to be increasing despite this. Sans mentions that Reigen forgot that being unattractive is one of the key tenets of becoming a popular guy on Tumblr. Emotionally crushed that he possibly ever wasn't actually attractive at all. Possibly ever? I think that might be a typo. Reigen considers falling out of the competition. However, he's cheered up by Mob, who says that Reigen should remember what he taught him. He should have confidence regardless of what anyone thinks of him. On the final day of the campaign, Reigen shows up with rings under his eyes, a 5 o'clock shadow, and a dad bod. Without saying anything, he takes out a sandwich on stage and stuffs it into his mouth. He follows up with his special attack, putting his fingers in his mouth like that one picture of Peter from Spider-Verse. The audience cheers, and Reigen's polling makes a massive comeback. In the end, the results are revealed. Sans won by a single vote. Reigen can't believe it. 1 vote? How could he possibly lose by 1 vote? Even that stupid skeleton voted for him. Mob shows up and says offhand that since Tumblr Sexyman are unattractive, he wanted Reigen to have some self-confidence, not rely on what other people think of him. Therefore, he voted for Sans. Reigen doesn't know how to feel about this.
In conclusion, you motherfuckers have way too much free time, and fuck the British royal family. I'm out. See you next week.